Hello team, Coach Tim here. Got a question for you guys to ponder today. Is there a perfect way for you to stand next to the golf ball for a chip shot and hit the right part of the golf ball? Not even necessarily for a chip shot. This is going to be for all shots, but we're going to start this conversation with a shorter range of motion. And in my humble opinion, the answer to that question is yes, but it's different for everybody. And so what I hope to be able to communicate to you today is how do you find your best way of standing next to the golf ball? And here's the way for us to start this conversation, right? We're going to primarily be talking about where your feet should be pointing. Dead straight. A lot of people like to have the target foot flared out towards the target, right? And we do this for various reasons. You don't see this foot flare very often, but that's my preference. And so hopefully what I share with you through time is going to help you, or through this video, I should say, is going to help you find what works best for you, okay? So let's start this conversation with the extremes. What takes place when my toes are pointing behind the golf ball? Okay, you're going to see, look how the bottom of the arc here is significantly behind the golf ball. Can you see how I brushed the grass to it? What this normally does when you foot flare behind is it helps slow down your body rotation. It helps shallow out the golf club and helps move the bottom of the swing circle backwards. Now, for somebody who has a very downward angle of attack and a very fast chest or a very fast body rotation towards the target, this really helps me for short shots because I have a tendency to get my golf club stuck in the ground. My golf club doesn't launch high enough with the other technique that I'm going to share with you here right now. So this is what I have found works best for me. Okay, now let's go to the exact opposite extremes. So now my toes are pointing more towards the front part of the golf ball. Okay, and if you see me now try and make my swing, look how the bottom arc, I brushed the grass, started brushing the grass about 2 golf balls in front of the golf ball. Okay, what does this do? Not only does it move the bottom of the arc more forward, it also gets my chest facing the target earlier and has usually more of a downward angle of attack as it approaches the golf ball. So you can start to utilize this information, especially if you start to think about what some of your misses are, right? So if you launch the golf ball too high, if you have a tendency to hit the grass too early, if you feel like your instructor, your golf coach, or yourself is always telling yourself to turn and face the target more, you probably want to have some form of foot flare in front of the golf ball. Now, if you have some of the exact opposite characteristics, you want to do the following, right? Or do the exact opposite, I should say, right? You want your foot flare to be pointing backwards. And, this is a way for us to explore this topic with to help you with your technique, to help you with your dynamic movement, because sometimes it's incredibly difficult and challenging to change your dynamic movement. So if we have our setup supporting what we're trying to do with our dynamic movement, to me, that's basically a win-win, okay? So you'll see a lot of world-class players with this kind of setup here, okay? And that's great for them. It just matches what they need with their golf swing. Again, for me, that's my setup right here, okay? So if I go ahead and step on up and try and strike this golf ball, I'm only going to try and hit this about 4 to 5 feet. That's usually one of the hardest shots in golf, especially for me. This foot flare just does a wonderful job to ensure that I hit the right part of the golf ball, that I don't have too much of a descending strike. The golf ball launches higher up in the air for me and comes off significantly slower. So all good things for me, especially when I'm trying to hit a golf ball short off the ground. So in conclusion, experiment with your foot flare. If you have especially felt like you've exhausted all of your attempts to try and change your technique, this just might be a wonderful way for you to just add one little dose of that same medicine that helps you execute this shot at a much higher level. So best of luck applying that information, and I hope that this information massively impacts your golf game.